Hey everyone, have I here been a video on Dragon Ball Z Dokkan Battle. In this video, we're going to decide on which worldwide celebration LR is better. Dokkan Festival exclusive GGT or Carnival BROLY. So with that, if you're new to my channel, like, subscribe, comment below, do all that good stuff. Let's go ahead and dive right in. So as usual, how I tend to match up against these units here, we're going to take a look at a multitude of different things. We have the leader skill, super attack. We have, in a sense, two passive skills that we have to look at, an active skill, some special skills, links, categories, and stats. I feel like this is the whole gamut that we have to compare to decide which one is better, but we're going to start with the easiest one out of this listing here, and that's going to be the stats, right? We're going to look at the stats of both units. Let's look at GGT here. We're looking at really solid overall stats, right? 24,000 for HP, attack 20,000, 105, and then defense 14,000, 044. Really good all-around stats here, but BROLY is very good as well, right? BROLY is 21,713 for HP, right under 20,000, 19,740 for attack, and then very high defense in 16,144. Now, when I look at the comparison of the two, I'm looking at, overall, and I think GGT has the better overall stats, even though it has less defense. That HP at 24,000 really helps out the entire team versus just the defensive mechanic that would technically just help this unit. So I'm going to give the check mark to the stats for LRGGT. So that, I think, is the easiest one to initially compare. We're going to kind of move to the next one that I think is the easiest, and that's categories, right? So we're kind of going from the bottom, and then we'll probably go back to the top as well. When you look at categories, let me go ahead and move this here. Categories, again, very, very easy to decide. So you go down here, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 versus BROLY, which would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So you take a look at 11 versus 9. 11 is going to be better, but you have to look at kind of relevancy as well. The interesting thing about BROLY is his, unneeded or unrestricted passive skills. And he can just go on really any of the teams, and we'll talk a little bit more about that when we talk about the passive skills. But I think maybe Goku has a little bit more relevant teams to deal with, but I still think it's just, more categories are better than less categories. So we are going to give the check mark here to BROLY on the categories, even though maybe some aren't as relevant. I think just having more is better. All right, so again, those are the two easy ones to start off with. Let's go ahead and go from the top here and look at the leader skill. So the leader skill here is All Out Struggle, Super Saiyan's Power of Wishes 170%, and then Movie Heroes and Connected Hope at 130 versus the Carnival, which is one category, 200%. I think this is also an easy decision to make, and we give the check mark to GGT because this is going to be a lot more versatile. You being able to lead 3 different categories and in combination, and then some of those are 200%, some of those are 170. Dokkan Festival exclusive and multiple category leader skills, I think, is a lot better. So we're going to give the check mark there for leader skill to GGT. Now, getting a little bit more complicated here because super attacks are kind of interesting on this, because we look at GGT and the super attacks here, but we have to look at the transformed super attack because he doesn't have any super attacks in his regular form. So for BROLY, that is. So we have to look at these versus these, which is funny because then when you go standby, Goku then can't attack, right? So so we're really only comparing one set of super attacks. So in this case here, raises attack for 1 turn, causes colossal damage to enemy, and lowers attack and defense. That's beneficial. And then greatly raises attack and defense for 3 turns, causes mega colossal damage to enemy, raises superclass allies attack and defense 30% for 1 turn. Now the best way to benefit here is if you're running in first position, and then that can buff up all superclass allies throughout that turn. And in terms of BROLY here, you're looking at raises attack and defense for 1 turn, causes colossal damage to enemy. So this is more beneficial than the GGT because you're able to have defense, and if you're able to do multiple super attacks, you can beef up defense there. And then you have greatly raises attack and causes mega colossal damage to all enemies. So I think this is pretty clear as well that GGT does have the edge on super attacks, given the fact that it can buff the entire team and it can lower attack and defense. However, it won't kind of mini stack the one turn defense, which BROLY can do it. But I think the edge does go to, you know, GGT here in this case. So we're just give that check mark there. So far we're looking at 3-1 in terms of skill set here. So let's look at the passive skills. So first and foremost, let's look at BROLY's initial passive skills. So a little bit hard to compare because you're looking at this unit here as more of a one turn. This is kind of, it's like, hey, we're here and then we transform, and then transformation at that point in time is just so much better than this. It's interesting to compare the two. So it's like, okay, do I compare the standby state to this, or do I compare this state to it? Like if I compare this, which has a ton of stuff here, right? Primarily the one that it makes this unit a lot different is right here, the all allies defense 77% if you have movie heroes or all out struggle. So you know, it's tough, but it's like, since I have to compare it in a normal sense and compare this to this and then this to this, I think that's going to be fair. So easy win for GGT again. Now here again is going to be very, very interesting. So let me move this aside over here, and over here. Is now the second passive, right? So the second passive, you're comparing this to then the standby, or you can kind of compare it to this as well if you don't go standby, but I think going standby is in a sense very important. So this, you're not able to attack and it's more defensive oriented, and also you're able to nuke support. So it's totally different than what you're experiencing here, which is just a ton of damage that you're able to do along with defensive mechanics as well. So some of the highlights here is your 76% for 3 turns after transformation, and then you have 50% damage reduction all the way through. Whereas when you go standby, you're looking at guarding versus a lot of damage reduction, and then you have the opportunity here to and like I said, nuke support, which is a lot different than we've really interested on there. Now, you do have the ability for damage reduction as well if you're able to get 24 keys. So right here, this damage reduction of 59% is really strong as long as you're able to get 24 key, which is seemingly pretty easy in terms of that. So when you look at then BROLY's, you're like, okay, great. That 50% is of course less than 59%, but still I think you have that up automatically without any condition. So just in case you don't get 24 key, which again it's kind of hard to do on that, but you're gonna do quite a bit of damage as well. But you also have the ability to guard along with if you're able to run in first position. So very similar now, right? Very similar now. Oops, GGT. You're guarding attacks here, but the guard here is unconditional versus the damage mitigation is being conditional, and then BROLY is conditional here at first position, and then unconditional for the 50%, and a little bit of turn condition for that 76%. So they've really built this this unit incredibly well. Now, again, the biggest issue on this transform state is it can't attack. It has this finishing attack. So I think because of this scenario versus this scenario and how easily Goku won this, or GGT won this, I think I'm gonna have to give it to BROLY, being that, hey, you're not able to attack during this time. You have this finishing attack, but that's a little bit separately. So I think then the check mark is gonna go to BROLY on the transform passive skill. So that was a little bit tough one, right? That was a little bit more difficult because it was very similar to a lot of different things, but Goku has that support buff there, but I think I might have to look at that as more of like a specialty, right? So let's talk about active skill, more or less the ease of active skill for it to actually work, right? So you have your stamp. Well, I shouldn't say standby is going to be kind of like an active skill, right? So you can do this when 77% or less is your HP, or starting from the 5th turn, and then this is going to run for 3 turns. Whereas BROLY, it's really right away. So right away you can go ahead and activate it, and in this case it's right away as well. So the active skill in terms of actually getting it activated and quickly started, you're gonna have to give that to BROLY. Not a very important, super important. It kind of is if your active skill is like incredibly good and you want to use it as fast as possible. In this case, the BROLY, I think that is going to be important. So the active skill and special kind of goes hand in hand here. Whereas BROLY is a flat-out boost of key +3 attack and defense 26%, versus the standby is really having these finishing attacks. And the question is, which one would you rather have? Is the unconditional attack and defense 26% for the rest of the battle, or just a nuking ability that does incredible amount of damage? I think you have to give it to the finishing attack here. This special skill here, the standby into this, even though you can't attack, so that's kind of where GGT ended up losing the passive skill too. Now it gains that extra benefit, being that the special skill that he has is pretty incredible there. So lastly, we'll take a look at is the link skills. We're looking at BROLY here, Saiyan Warrior Race, Prepare for Battle, Saiyan Lineage, Hardened Grudge, Berserker, Fierce Battle, and Legendary Power. That does change into Saiyan Warrior Race, Prepare for Battle, Shocking Speed, Super Saiyan, Berserker, Fierce Battle, and Legendary Power. Whereas GGT doesn't change at all. So it is Super Saiyan, Golden Warrior, Saiyan Warrior Race, Z Fighters, Prepare for Battles, Fierce Battle, Legendary Power. So this was very difficult to make a choice, right? They both are very good. In comparison, you have a lot of the stuff that's the same, right? You have Prepare for Battle, you have Fierce Battle, Legendary Power. So those are the 3 that's already there. The difference is Berserker, Shocking Speed, Super Saiyan, Saiyan Warrior Race. They have Super Saiyan. They both have Super Saiyan. So we're looking at what Saiyan Warrior Race is on here. Yeah, Saiyan Warrior Race. So it's like Z Fighters versus Berserker. that's what we're looking at. I don't think I can choose one better than another. It's the team that you're running on is going to be conditional to that. So I think link skills are it's a draw here. There's really no winner in terms of that. So just looking at check marks, right? And this is not weighted check marks. Just looking at check marks here, you kind of have a clear winner in the LRGGT, right? Leader skill, super attack, its initial passive skill, oops, why is that spinning around? Then you have its special, that finishing attack is really incredible. And you can even talk about the ability to buff all. This is bothering me here. The ability to buff all of your teammates, right, with the 77% defense for 2 turns. That's just absolutely incredible. So you kind of look at that as kind of like a bigger plus here, right? Give it a little bit more weight. One of the things that I think BROLY does have, I'm going to kind of make the category a little bit bigger there, is that unrestriction, right? So when you are using Goku, Gohan, and Trunks, right, this right here, that's going to provide that boost. When you're on teams, right, it has to be associated with a movie hero all out struggle category ally attacking the same turn to get this incredible boost. So that limitation really hampers this unit on where you can run them, because you have to be cognizant about what units are on the team. Whereas BROLY, you're like, there's unrestriction everywhere, right? It's, the only thing is against a category enemy where you're going to get a much huger boost when it comes to crit chance. But everything else is just, it's first attacker, second, third attacker. It's all unconditional to the team. You can just slot him in any of these categories here. I think we said there's 11 here, and he is one of the best in slots, right? Just throw him in there and he works. So that's really where the value comes in terms of BROLY. But again, you have to look at it as an overall aspect of it all. And it seems like GGT is better, a little bit more valuable at this point in time. Whereas right now, BROLY, from when I'm recording this video here, really only has 4 check marks versus the Goku. So I think some of you guys think that BROLY is better. And again, this is a subjective look at both units. I'm choosing GGT as better. I wouldn't say, even though it has more check marks here, I wouldn't say overly better. They're very close in terms of value and in terms of benefit for the team. But even though Goku is restricted and BROLY is not, I think the GGT does a lot more. So anyway, that is my thoughts here. We have the winner as the LRGGT as the winner for this versus, and who's better. So let me know what you guys think. Do you guys agree, disagree? Let me know in the comment section below. If you're new to my channel, like, subscribe, do all that good stuff. Thank you all for watching. Keep on Dokkaning. We'll catch you next time. Later.